Thank you for taking my call. I have a 24-year-old son who has an alcohol problem, who refuses to believe he has an alcohol problem, and I don't know how to help.
Okay. Why do you say he has an alcohol problem? What's he been doing? What's been going on?
Well, what I can see is he's binging. His father had the same issue, and it grew into drugs and alcohol. It started with the alcohol. And he's drinking probably 2-3 times a week, sometimes starting early in the morning. Can't keep a job. Absolutely believes everybody in the world is against him, including God.
It sounds like alcoholism.
I think he qualifies.
Yeah.
Judah laughing, but it's just because of the irony that, and I can understand, that it's a painful situation for yourself and your son. But, what we're laughing about is that it's hard for us to recognize, or hard for, I think, people that aren't alcoholics to recognize that the alcoholic really is sort of self-obsessed with their drinking and doesn't really see the damage that they're doing to the family members around them. Until they get sober.
I also identify a lot,
and that's what I'm saying. So
is right when I was it was like I was that 22-year-old kid that, I couldn't hold a job, drinking like that, blamed God, blamed everybody for everything.
So let's ask you, Judah, what was it that really broke through to you? I mean,
you want to know? Around my parents getting help, and I mean that from my mom and dad. And I always joke about this when I speak at meetings, and I always used to say, thank God my parents found Al-Anon because they stopped believing that meetings cost $10 a week to go to. And because I had convinced my parents that AA cost money. and this time when I was getting sober, they didn't believe that anymore. All they gave me was like $1.50 for a token to get to Manhattan. And they had started to get help for themselves. And those things that I was able to do to them, like holding them hostage, stopped working. And that's why a big thing that we recommend is for the family to get help.
This is the best of Klean Radio, heard every Sunday night at 8. For more on the show, go to cleanradio.com.
We are a show about addiction and recovery, and we welcome our new listeners in New York with any questions you might have. And I think, one of the things we're talking about, is painkillers. I mean, the explosion of painkillers today is insane.
Yeah, it's funny because, we've known for a while that this has been such a bad problem. At least the last 4 or 5 years, there's been this huge just boom in the use of prescription drugs. And it's been going on a little bit before that, but it's really been booming. And it's just the Whitney Houston thing obviously is throwing it over the top. Although, it's funny, you would have thought Heath Ledger would have done it, Nobody really went after his doctors or...
Well, I mean, right, because that was almost the beginning of it. That was like, this young guy and, you sort of... Because everybody's doing... so many people are doing it.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome to Klean Radio, Beverly.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for your help. I have a friend who has a degenerative disc problem, and she has become addicted to her pain medicine and now has started drinking. So we're trying to figure out what to do because her pain that she takes the medicine for is definitely real, and she needs some kind of medical help to assist her with coping with the pain.
Yeah, chronic pain, Beverly, is one of the most difficult issues that we in the addiction field face because you're right. People are in pain, and people that are in pain, there's actually a legal mandate in California that they have to be treated with pain medication. Is she currently seeing a physician still?
Yeah, she does, but, she's not managing her pain, and she's not appropriately, she's not being appropriately medicated, so now she's self-medicating. And we just don't know what to do. As you said, it is dangerous.
There's several different levels which she may need intervention. One may be that she just might need some therapy, and talking with a therapist about how to manage and self-regulate her pain medication. There's a good chance that she might be able to, on her own, with the help of a therapist, moderate and manage her pain medication so it's still effective, and realize that alcohol is actually going to make the pain medicine not work for her quicker, which will cause her more of a problem. So that's one level. Another level is that she might actually be a full-blown addict now, not just addicted to needing those pills for pain, but mixing them with alcohol, she might be in a whole addictive process. At that point, she might need either an outpatient treatment center or working with a residential treatment center to detox and then restabilize her on medication, and then also educate her about how to use pain medication effectively.
Which is a great point that you bring up, because she's still going to need the pain medication.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take,
because the pain is real.
You can't take it away,
right?
And you can change it up though, and there's different ways to deal with that too. There's also new classes of medications that aren't opiates that can be used in conjunction with opiates. Drugs like Flexeril that are muscle relaxers and stuff like that can help ease pain. Neurontin. So there's but those are things that she should be getting from someone that really understands chronic pain. And isn't just.
Where do you find these places that do that?
Well, we certainly do it at Klean.
Expert in therapy or this.
Yeah, we certainly do that at our treatment center and at our outpatient. And the physicians we work with do it on an outpatient basis. So if you hold on,
what's the name of your facility?
It's Klean Treatment Center with a K, Klean center.com. You can go to.
This is the best of Klean Radio, heard every Sunday night at 8. For more on the show, go to cleanradio.com. That's clean with a K. If you or someone you know is in need of immediate addiction assistance, call 888-601-6040.
I like that you call yourself the, because I call myself the Judah.
The.
You see, look at the kid.
Well, you see,
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
Welcome to Klean Radio, Paul Casey.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
I didn't realize you guys were dating.
Sorry. Neither did we.
It's
I think it's Judah's fantasy. It comes up every week now, 3 weeks in a row. What do you think?
It's not often.
After 2 weeks, I have to take it seriously.
It's not often a handsome gentleman takes me to the movies and buys me popcorn. Yesterday was that day that all potheads celebrate, thinking, we spoke about this.
And that's because 420 is the police code for marijuana possession.
You see, I didn't even know that.
Well, there you go. So
I was actually curious to how that started.
Yeah, when you get pulled over, they say 420, and that's why people, I got a 420. It means marijuana possession. So people generally also say, hey, it's 420, let's smoke pot.
So a lot of people keep telling me, you need to throw him out, you need to just let him hit rock bottom, but I can't do that.
And you're right for that. I mean, you throw a 19-year-old kid out, trust me, only farther worse could happen.
That's exactly
But
what
Andrew did give you the best advice, and this is the advice that, my parents finally took, was they started taking care of themselves and getting healthy themselves. Okay. And they started to get a support group. And in the end, my father used to say to me, I'm going to help you out, but the help you're going to need is when you call me, I'm not going to give you money. I'm not going to give you a place to live, but I will put you in rehab. And my father, that was what it had come down to. And I knew what you're going through now is so hard, but there is help out there and there's support. So you don't have to go through this by yourself.
I think a lot of people think that marijuana is a significant drug.
That's
another. And, marijuana has become so much stronger in the last 40 years since it really sort of hit America.
I kind of feel it's a gateway drug to maybe him starting on trying something else.
It's not even a gateway drug anymore.
It is the drug
now.
Marijuana
is so dangerous. And we're not saying this to scare people. We're not saying this, it's like the guy that came into your high school and
fried an egg on a platform or something.
One of those, one of those movies from the 50s. With people growing marijuana themselves these days, and
19-year-old son, the frontal lobe is still developing, and the brain is still developing. So things like impulse control, memory, all these very important elements of a brain working and functioning properly are still developing. And the studies show that development and growth now goes into your 20s. So at 19, he's at a very vulnerable time to be using a substance like marijuana that actually affects how the brain works.
Yes, and I can definitely prove that. He went from a 4.0 average in high school to a 2.7.
Right.
When people are drinking out there and people are using, or people are in food addiction, whatever addiction it is, they'll go to whatever means necessary it is to get that high.
Yeah.
And they'll jump off a cliff if they thought there was their drug on the other side.
It's like when people get sober and we take them on a hike and they don't want to walk up the top of the hill.
Right.
And I always say, well, if you were still using and I told you there were drugs at the top of the hill,
right,
we would have been up there already.
And it's constantly, when you constantly hear people when they're getting sober, you're like, well, you have to do this. And they're like, really? For how long?
Yeah, right.
That question was never asked when they were drinking or getting high. Nobody ever said, really, they bought heroin for how long?
I'm calling in
because of Jennifer. She tweeted that she was going to be on the show, and it gave me the courage to say that I'm not sure if I'm an alcoholic or not. I don't know what's going on, if I am.
Hi,
what
Kelly,
is going on?
And what's going on? What are you questioning?
Well, okay, I can drink for literally from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, but then I can just not drink for like months. I don't know.
You're a binge drinker.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what they call it. I mean, the point is that you're drinking in excess of amount that's healthy. So, if you're drinking more than 5 drinks at a sitting, it's actually potentially dangerous drinking. So,
and is it affecting your life?
Well,
that's
yes
a yes.
And no. Yes, and okay. I just took this huge history exam, and by the way, Jennifer, thanks for telling me good luck. I did well on it.
Yay, I know who you are. Oh, my God. Yay, you did it. Atta
Power
girl.
Cat 25.
Yay.
I tweet you all the time. She has a lot of fans. I'm telling you.
She does.
She
have a lot of
does. That's
fans.
why her new
So-
nickname is Jennifer. I have a lot of fans, Jimenez.
Oh, my God. Okay, so, and you passed it.
Yeah, so I did well because I didn't drink the night before, and I did well. But I'm gonna drink tonight, and I know it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna drink a lot. And I don't know if that's good. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's
I love
like,
your
where-
honesty.
No, I mean-
yeah, right. Go bigger.
The
Your
one thing you'll
honesty is
find out
great.
about alcoholics, Kelly, is that they like to talk about drinking, and they, there's a thrill in it still, even for people that are sober. And you'll find if you ever enter the recovery community with a bunch of sober people that we're always like the loudest group in the restaurant.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are sitting there talking, being loud,
Not
obnoxious,
listening to each other.
right? Not listening to each other. Right?
Yeah, they do
it's
that a lot.
Part
Kelly.
of the deal. And go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Jennifer. Yeah.
Just, one of the things I want to tell you, Kelly, is what I've learned through the last few years, and especially like doing the courses with you guys and stuff, is that why am I drinking? Like, I'm suffering from a spiritual malady, and am I drinking to try to numb the pain or to try to shut the issues up, whatever they may be, from childhood to what's going on current in my life? And I'm not drinking today, but I'm saying like these are the reasons why we drink and we use, and when we can't shut that up, and that feeling, that guilt and remorse that we feel, or that shame or that pain that we're feeling, and it's just all of a sudden you're like, am I questioning if I'm an alcoholic or a drug addict, and in your case, alcoholic. And, if you're having doubts, I would check it out.
Are you
Right.
drinking? Are you drinking by yourself tonight, Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's like one of the surefire signs that drinking has become more important than life.
And are you going to watch some depressing movies while you drink? I got you.
No, it's the music, the depressing
yeah, listen,
music.
just don't watch Say Anything. That was my drinking at home. I would watch Say Anything.
But this is common. We find when people become more and more alcoholic, they tend to isolate and they stay at home.
Yeah.
And they
I'm
just
a
drink.
student, so all I do is
Right.
study, and I drink and study and drink.
Yeah.
Right, but you know what, Kelly? There's so many things you could be doing.
Yeah.
I was
that
going to
are
say that there's
more
so much
exciting.
more
It's like
in the
it's like
world.
get out
Drinking.
there, go on a date, go bowling.
Well,
You're in Flagstaff,
yeah.
Arizona. Go shooting. I don't know. Do something. Not when you're drunk.
Go make a flag.
Yeah, go Gila monster shooting.
No,
Something else, right?
there is so much more to life, and whether it's dating, and in my case, it's like learning who I am on a daily basis right now. I'm not in that place. And especially if you're questioning, am I an alcoholic? You got to get to know yourself, and give yourself that opportunity and that chance, and see if you like yourself.
It's definitely this year. I've been doing this for 22 years, and
What have you been doing for 22 years?
working in addiction and mental health. And I just got a call right before the show from a friend of mine who's been struggling just over like the last 2 years, and just relapsed again out of nowhere. And took that first drink after a little while of not having a drink, and ended up losing like all his luggage, and he got drunk on the plane, lost his luggage, ended up in a bar away from his house,
Missed his family.
missed his family, child custody, meeting. It's just amazing how easy it is to slip. And
what's amazing is he probably thought before he got on the plane, or even as he was picking up the first drink, he probably said to himself, I'm only going to drink one. Because most people that get sober, get sober through family members. Or, their family members insisted on them coming to get sober. And it's almost like the change that happens to them, they're not used to.
Right.
You know,
Right.
your kid gets out of rehab, your wife, your son, your daughter, and you're like, you don't even know what to do.
Well, and that it's a family problem.
Right.
And that the issues that go around along with the addiction are systemic throughout the family. So
Correct.
you have a lot of problems with relationships within the family, even when somebody gets sober. And a lot of times addiction is brought on by some of these pre-existing problems.
You know, when I moved out to California, I kind of, I got away from everybody. I got away from all my brothers and sisters and really, drifted from my family. So I'm in contact with them more and more and more, and it was really nice to see everybody. And they're all they're so supportive. Like my sister, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Gina! And
It's my daughter's birthday, actual birthday today too. Tax day.
Is that right? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Nothing like
Cool.
having a
Perfect
daughter on
symmetry in the
on
studio.
April 15th.
Yeah. So, but I talk to her just about every day, and that was one of the things when I was actually in treatment, and I felt like, everybody was just relieved that I was somewhere safe,
Right.
and then, it's sort of I felt like I just got dropped off there, kind of, and I was feeling a little sorry for myself and stuff. And at one point, I said to her, "I need you guys, to be there for me. I need you to talk to me. I need you to know that you're in this with me, and it's important to me." And so, the beautiful thing is that we have talked virtually every day since that day, and that's I'll be a year sober in a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks. So
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Happy
Amazing.
birthday.
This is the best of Clean Radio, heard every Sunday night at 8. For more on the show, go to cleanradio.com. Are you struggling with an addiction that's ruining your life? Want to have a confidential conversation with a professional that will immediately assist you? Do you suspect a loved one is abusing drugs and would like a free drug testing kit and consultation? Clean Treatment Center is standing by right now to help those with addictions and the people who care about them. Call 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. Or go to Clean Treatment Center, that's clean with a K, cleantreatmentcenter.com.
David in San Diego. David, you there, David?
I am.
Welcome
Hey,
to
David.
Clean Radio. And
Hey, I just want to say
yeah.
it's fantastic, the service that you're doing.
Thank
and
you.
that young man, Ron, too. You guys are truly amazing.
Thank
but
you.
the comment that I wanted to make is that what we do is we treat the symptom, and the symptom is fear, and we treat it with drugs and alcohol
Right.
abuse or gambling.
We talked about this a little bit last week. Is what are the initial reasons that people use drugs? I think we talked about a lot of it is to be in a peer group that
Right.
has the hot chick in it that they want to have sex with, and so that's then that seems to be the drug culture, so they get involved that way, or it's part of a music scene and you start taking drugs because of that. And then I think some of the things like fear is more recovery language, where once you've got so many consequences from having become addicted and using, that now you've avoided a lot of things in your life that now keep you using and keep you out. Fear of withdrawal, fear of paying bills, fear of getting your life back together, fear of facing legal consequences. And I do like the acronym face everything and recover. Right?
And but I think that's really cool to talk about is that one of the greatest thing that I ever said in sobriety was yes. When I learned how to say yes, and because people would say to me, "Do you want to go somewhere?" My first thing to say to an alcoholic or a person that's going through despair, the first thing to say is no. So people out there are struggling, and somebody says to you, "Do you need help?" Yes. Do you want to go somewhere for fun? Yes. And then worry about it later.
Right.
And, that's why we went on a date a few weeks ago to the Hunger Games.
We had our little movie
because
date.
you said, "Do you want to go to the Hunger Games?" And I said, yes.
And you've been talking about it as us being on a date for 3 weeks now.
Yes. And,
Right.
it's not often I get to go out with such a beautiful man.
Oh, gosh.
And by the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio Live. That's Clean Radio Live with a K.
There's something pretty amazing about sharing this gift, because really, frankly, it is a gift.
I mean,
and
I would
we're-
call that constructive love.
Or
Right.
love tough.
Or-
like my
Right.
therapist.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the
reversing
beginning,
it.
you feel like
Yeah.
you're invading you're taking someone's life, and you're saying, "Look, you're done. We're done. You're not doing this anymore. You're going to hurt yourself or someone else." And she howled like a dog outside for a couple days.
Right.
And she got through it, and we did it together, and it's one day at a time, everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it
Do you
is.
think
It's
there
a
was
daily reprieve.
You think in your family it was genetic? that?
Yeah, we had alcoholism that did run in our family, so absolutely.
And you're right, though, what you were saying, because, so many people, right, parents these days want to be friends with their kids. In the old days, it used to be parents that didn't want to be friends with their kids and were total, were the father from the Wonder Years. And now it's sort of like trying to mix them both together.
Yeah, it's a fine line.
Right, and that's hopefully what we're saying to people is you don't have to be, the school teacher that hit you. You don't have to be the best friend gym teacher. It's trying to find the mix in the middle and it's a hard mix, and there are groups out there, there are therapists out there that can help you with that.
This is the best of Klean Radio, heard every Sunday night at 8. For more on the show, go to cleanradio.com. That's Klean with a K. If you or someone you know is in need of immediate addiction assistance, call 888-601-6040.
Well, I think that's one of the real sort of attractions to pills in general, is that they don't smell. It's often harder to detect the people who are using them. People can be addicted to them and look kind of normal and stable for during the day, and then they can take extras at night and get really high.
And they're also extremely easy to get.
And they've gotten a lot easier, but yeah.
And it's like if you're a parent out there, and this is something you should be concerned with. We discussed this last week when Andrew was taking a little R&R. If you're a parent out there, and you put, it's easier for your teenagers to get into. It's easier for your teenagers to get into your medicine cabinet than it is for them to buy beer.
Or neighbors' medicine cabinet.
Right.
People go they tour houses for sale just to go look through the. I'm giving people ideas.
I didn't. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
But they'll go, look at houses with real estate agents just to go through the bathroom cabinets.
Tell people a little out there who you are, what you do.
Well, I've been doing hair and had a beauty salon in Beverly Hills since I'm 20 years old. I started in 1966, and now I am 66. Actually, that's a 2-year-old joke.
We did the math before. We did the math.
Yeah.
You don't look a day older, if that helps.
Thank you. And I originally wanted to write my book because when I first came in, the town was so amazing and life was so full of possibilities, in the 60s and then the 70s got so wild and crazy, and then I got sober, and people would say, wow, I wish I was there. I wish I lived at that time. I mean, you'd give your keys and $100 bill to a parking attendant on Sunset when you come out from after dinner. You get your car and you'd have a gram of Coke in the glove compartment. And nobody would believe.
It's gone down in price.
Yeah. Okay, but I want to talk about something very quickly before we were talking about this in the green room before the show, and you were saying about Coke that it's funny that you find a lot of people. What are they constantly saying to you now?
Oh, I didn't know. I hear cocaine is back. I'm like, according to the club I belong to, it's never decreased in membership. And, it's always prevalent. It's ancient. This disease is ancient. It kills families long before anyone dies. Right. And it'll be here long after us. It kills countries, let alone neighborhoods. It's just, a real issue that nobody wanted to discuss until recently. We're very lucky that, we have the conversation open. I give a lot of kudos to Betty Ford, who showed that it wasn't
just a male
in the alley in a trench coat.
I've seen Andrew get sad a few times. He was, you were really sad when Betty Ford died because she had a profound impact on you.
Well, it's just, somebody that has the courage, that has that much power and has so much to lose by facing a social stigma. And I got into mental health pretty early in my life, working in mental health right out of graduate school, in graduate school even. And I went into mental health because I'd always see people are always so scared of it, and I never understood that. I looked around at all the different populations of people, and people that had mental health issues or substance abuse people, or people that had substance abuse problems, people who have this fear, this irrational fear of it. I think part of it is that they've seen it in their own family or with their friends, and they're so angry or so upset about it that it creates sort of an irrational response.
That elephant we don't want to discuss.
Yeah, no, people will easily walk by a drunk on the street and not think anything about it or be sort of horrified by it without thinking about the possibility that can happen to anyone in their family.
To anyone. Yeah. I will say quickly that as I was saying, I started my book. It was going to be about fashion and about the times and life before frequent flyers and credit cards and cell phones and all that stuff. But the subtext of my story is I was brought up mixing drinks for my mother and her boyfriends.
I'm going to read the first page. Do you mind if I do that?
Not at all.
The
Please
first
do.
sentence in Carrie White's book is, "Honey, could you make Mommy and Johnny a little drinky poo?" That's pretty amazing. How old were you?
6.
Wow. What was the drink?
Bourbon and 7-Up. And then I started sipping it so it wouldn't spill on the tray, and then I started mixing one for myself. I was literally arrested for being drunk by the time I was 12.
This is the best of Klean Radio, heard every Sunday night at 8. For more on the show, go to cleanradio.com. That's Klean with a K. If you or someone you know is in need of immediate addiction assistance, call 888-601-6040.
I know that when I was in treatment and then through psychotherapy and analysts and all of this stuff, like there was 4 things that they said. Like if I have, women deal with weight issues, drug addiction, alcoholism, and cutting. Drugs and alcohol, weight, cutting, and sex addiction issues. And if you have those kind of in check, then you're doing okay. So it's not like, okay, because I'm, I don't have a problem because I'm not a drug addict or alcoholic. Like there's many other issues that are going on. Abuse,
well, life is hard,
Life on life's terms. I mean, I think all of us as individuals all over the world, we're trauma survivors of some sort,
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
sort.
And I think it's very important what you just said. I think it's okay to say life's hard.
It is.
And I think that's why we're blessed, being in a 12-step format and sober. It's like it's sort of like refreshing to go, man, I had a rough day. And when you're drinking, your rough day is that you couldn't get high enough, or you couldn't get drunk enough, or you
couldn't get that dealer or that alcohol.
And I think a lot about it is feelings. And one thing that's universal for all people is we all share the same set of feelings.
But how do it's learning to realize that feelings aren't facts. They come and they go. And also learning to communicate them and say to somebody, like, I'm uncomfortable because, like, for the first year or two, I was like, I just want to die. I want to use. I feel ugly. I feel bad. I feel that, and now it's like, I'm really uncomfortable because, I'm missing my dad today because he's no longer on this earth. Like, and everything else just kind of falls apart. And it's learning to realize and identify things and learn new terms.
And realize that money isn't going to solve the problems. Like a lot of people think that, if I
and I think when you're drinking,
the feelings are still the same, whether you have the money or not, or the guy or the whatever.
And if you're not dealing with issues, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I've been there. I've had it all and I've had nothing. And, that weight, when I gained 263 pounds, I'm grateful because it saved my life. It saved my life. It protected me from you and me.
Give us your last, golden words of wisdom.
If you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. If you want something different, you got to do something different. Find a group, find a community, and adopt their method of living, and it will change your life forever.
Are you struggling with an addiction that's ruining your life? Want to have a confidential conversation with a professional that will immediately assist you? Do you suspect a loved one is abusing drugs and would like a free drug testing kit and consultation? Klean Treatment Center is standing by right now to help those with addictions and the people who care about them. Call 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. Or go to Klean Treatment Center, that's Klean with a K, cleantreatmentcenter.com.